Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we got Dukes of Duval here, and we have his 2013 Chevrolet Silverado truck sitting right here behind us. We have one mission today, and what are we going to be doing?
Change the spark plugs. That's it.
Now, why are we going to change the spark plugs in this truck today?
I feel like it's running a little bit rough, and truthfully, I've had the truck for 130,000 miles, and I've never changed them. So I figured, you know what? Got to start there, right?
Right, so we've done some other work to this truck as well. We changed the O2 sensor. That really didn't help us. So we're going to go ahead and get these spark plugs out and get them changed. We have a brand new set here. So let's tackle that today on the channel, and let's see what happens.
Additionally, we're going to do the wires as well.
Absolutely, let's go. All right, we're back again with Dukes of Duval here in his 2013 Chevrolet Silverado truck. Having some issues with rough running, so today we're going to try to tackle that by replacing the spark plugs and the spark plug wires as a first step. And actually, we've already done some other work to it that didn't really help. So what do we need to do first? We already went online, we looked at what we needed, and we got the tools ready for the job. What's the first step after you have these plugs out of the box?
Yeah, so first step for me is always just checking the gap to make sure they're correct. So we'll confirm the specs on those, make sure they're all gapped. A lot of times I think they're supposed to come from the factory pre-gapped. I don't trust that, to be honest with you. So I just go through each one to make sure they're exactly at spec where they need to be. And then from there, we're gonna go right in and start taking the wires out completely and then pulling them out. These newer motors are pretty easy. You're not having to like figure out where the long wires, short wires are. They're all the same length of wire, so it's very easy to go by each individual cylinder, just one after the next, and boom, it's easy.
All right, so have you checked the gap on these yet?
I have not. I'm going to confirm those right now. So I'm going to confirm the specs, which I think is at 0.44. I'm not sure, but we're going to do that, and then we'll go one by one and check them.
All right, so we have the old school gapping tool that looks like a big coin. We're going to get that out right now and show you guys how we're going to check the gap on it right here with this guy, and then we'll get straight to work.
Yeah, man.
All right, we're back with Dukes of Duval here, and we did some research online, and apparently the correct gap is what is it? 0.040, and these are about 0.45. So what we're going to do is just tap that head a little bit, right? So it
we'll tap it down a little bit to reduce it. Hopefully it's pretty easy. A couple taps,
and it moves pretty simply with just a tiny tap. You don't have to do a whole lot.
It's more than that.
Or you could tap it on the ground. Either way. All right, so we got this one gapped pretty close to 0.040.
And they were all off. They were all around 0.045. So we're going to go and do all of them.
So how much was an entire set of plugs for this truck?
That's a great question. I think I paid plugs and wires around $120.
All right, not too bad. Not too bad. And we'll go ahead and gap these and give you guys a time lapse of that right now. All right, we're back, and we just gapped these spark plugs at 0.040 using the hammer.
Yep.
And I got a little bit too aggressive with them, and all he had to do was bend the tip up just a little bit to get those back on track. And now what's the next step? What are we going to do next?
Yeah, so it's easy enough. We're just going to go in here. It's pretty simple. We'll get our lights moved around so we got a good vision of what we're doing. And we're just going to go individually, each one by one, and we're going to go start by pulling the wires off of each one and then going in there and removing it. So for the socket size, it's a 5/8 is what it is. Nice if you have a spark plug socket, which is very specific because it has a piece of rubber that's inside of there that helps kind of grab that socket so that when you're going back in or trying to remove it, it kind of sticks in there a little bit nicely so that you're able to, obviously get the threads on there and then obviously take it out. All right, so first things first is, we're just going to make things a little bit easier to get in here. I don't think this is necessary, but I like to get this thing out of here a little bit, just kind of expose stuff, especially for the other side.
Right, so that's just the engine cover, so it just clips in.
Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, we got each individual cylinder here down the way. I don't know what number cylinders they are. It doesn't really matter. Again, this is not old school where you had to worry about what cylinder, what wire, and the length of the wire to make sure everything lined back up. Every wire is individually exactly the same. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go and pull the plug wires out, the new ones, and my recommendation as someone that's had this truck for quite some time, I will tell you personally from my experience, there are just certain things that when it comes to specific parts that using AC Delco on Silverado, I highly recommend. You pay a little bit more for it, but I've had so many issues in the past with buying certain parts that were aftermarket or made in China or whatever that were terrible, and then I just find myself having more issues. So I paid the price to get AC Delco. That's what I would recommend highly.
And you can see right here, Joe is just taking a look at the new spark plug wires there. And basically what happens is there is a metal sheath that goes around the spark plugs. You take that off of the old spark plugs and you apply it to the new spark plugs. Now right here, Joe is checking out the passenger side of the truck here, and basically the back spark plug in the rear there on the passenger side is going to give you the most problems. It is sort of hidden by the exhaust manifold. Now in this clip you can see me bent over the side of the truck here, and I basically had a very difficult time getting that rear plug out, but I eventually got it, and you can see me now here inserting the new spark plugs. And you want to go to 11 foot-pounds of torque if you're going to be using your torque wrench for this. Now right here, you can clearly see me struggling with this plug. We did have a plug on the driver's side rear that was very difficult to get out, and so we ended up spraying WD-40 on it, but it was very hard to get out of the truck, and we eventually got that out of there. Shot of the new versus the old. Now, is the old one an AC Delco as well? Did you look into it?
I see this factory.
Also notice the difference in the tip. So this is a different design here. Those are the ones with like the really small.
Or maybe it's ate away over time. I mean, these are old plugs. These are
could be
definitely overdue.
Now here is where we kind of made a revelation in the whole process, and that is if you get on top of the engine bay and just lay on top of it, you have complete access to this back spark plug and probably better access to all the spark plugs. I recommend getting up in the engine bay and throwing a towel over the truck when you do this. It ain't missing. It's not missing. We got all cylinders? It's all cylinders. We just got done replacing the plugs and we are going on a little test drive. We almost slammed into the golf cart. So we did get the plugs replaced about, I don't know, 2-hour job, maybe more, yeah, 2 or 3 hours. But I think I figured out the key at the very end is to be on top of the engine. Curious to see if this helps.
Well, it definitely feels a little bit smoother. It was running a little rough.
You think there was an improvement? Can't tell.
Hard to tell, but we'll see.
Okay, so Joe has the new truck syndrome.
New shoe syndrome.
So he thinks it's run so much better.
Yeah.
And we just ripped it.
I can run faster now with new spark plugs.
Do you think it's better, or do you just not sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It seems to be right. I feel like it's like at idle in other areas it was running really rough.
Okay.
But it feels to be a little bit better. So.
Okay, cool. So we need to reset the codes.
I think it was an improvement.
Again.
I think it was an improvement. Yeah, we could reset the codes.
It definitely needed it.
Yeah.
It's never had plugs done, ever.
Correct.
Or wires.
135,000 miles. It's recommended at 135 to change your spark plugs, I think.
We did it right on time.
Right on time. Yeah, the manual.
I think it says 1,000,000 miles.
Oh, I might have misread that. Maybe it's 1,300,000.
And now you know.
Now you know.
You got to get in the engine bay and get on top of the engine to get leverage on a lot of those spark plugs. I think we could have done a lot better, I think, if I would have crawled in the engine bay like
It wasn't terrible though.
All right, we're back in the 4K production studio after working on Joe Dukes of Duval's Chevy Silverado pickup truck. Now, you saw in the video we did have a few little issues with that. One thing, the spark plug on the passenger side in the very back is very difficult to get to, but it helps if you crawl on top of the engine bay itself and then reach down in the back, you can get to that spark plug. We also had a stuck spark plug on the driver's side. The rear driver's side was very difficult to get off. We ended up just using a regular ratchet and a breaker bar on top of the ratchet and some WD-40. Now right here on the screen there is a kit for it that is a non-AC Delco kit. I'm going to put a link to this kit in the description, but as Joe said, it's up to you, but he would recommend that you use AC Delco original parts. Also, don't forget to have a spark plug tool. There'll be one in the description as well. Some dielectric grease to put on the tip of the spark plugs, and some anti-seize compound if you believe that you need that on your vehicle. We did not use it. Guys, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Please support the channel by buying all of your Amazon products through my product links. It doesn't have to be this exact product. You can click any of my links and buy anything you want from Amazon. And it does help the channel greatly by giving us a few dollars, because as you know, we lose money on the channel. We do have another project coming up for the Silverado. We're going to be doing the rear brakes next, so please stay tuned for that. But I got to leave right now. I got to go open up an automotive repair shop.
All right, great outro.
Later, guys.